Hi, it's Michael Ankrah, founder of Hackner Education and creator of Focus ELC. I'm happy that you're watching this power session because really this is about a topic which is fundamental to most of the things that we do as a people, as a society, and indeed as a country. Now, today's power session is about assessment, and by assessment, I'm referring to summative assessment, the assessment that we tend to do at the end of, say, year 6 or GCSE or A levels. That's what I'm referring to. I'm not referring to formative assessment, which happens moment by moment or day by day, and as and when anything happens. No, that's not what I'm talking about. So I'm really referring to the assessment that goes on league tables and stuff like that. And really, I want to drive into the problem with an assessment driven agenda. Now, just think about this for a minute. Are we going to equate money to happiness by saying that, if you can get a lot of money or if somebody has a lot of money, it means that they are definitely happy people? I think the answer is not far-fetched because otherwise everybody in Hollywood will be great, and all the so-called rich people will be very happy people, but we know that is not the case. Because you see, in his book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, Stevie Covey identified two ethics. One he called the personality ethic, and then the other is what he called the character ethic. Now, in summary, the personality ethic are the short-term driven thing. So it's like, hey, well, look at me. My son went into grammar school. Hey, look at me. I got a level this. Look at me. I got a first class. Those are personality driven ethics. But then Covey also identified what he called the character driven ethic. And by character driven ethic, we are talking of where you work towards achieving mastery in whatever you've chosen as a craft. So you attain mastery in your spirituality, or you are a loving person, or within you it's more about the internal structures that you build, your mindset, your resilience, and that is long lasting. That is what drives an individual. So the question really has been going on, and during this half-term break, I actually took part in a consultation by the Ministry of Education. And the question really is about at what time should children be assessed? Is it at the end of year 2, year 6? And even though I took part in the consultation, I was screaming throughout and saying that it is not really about assessment. We should be focusing more on the learning. You see, and it's just really about asking ourselves a question of what do we want from our educational system? Are we looking to produce children, graduates, who will say, yeah, this guy has got a first class, but then they have no common sense in functioning in the workplace or in the world of work? Or we want people that you can throw them in any situation and they are going to start thinking and say, okay, what can I do? And come up with something reasonable and sensible. And the problem is this: when you focus on assessment, it's like putting the cart before the horse. Or as the story is said about the goose that laid a golden egg, you might think that if you just split the goose open and you might get all the golden eggs, but it doesn't work like that. You must build learning, nurture the goose so that the goose will continue to produce the golden egg. That is a more sensible approach. But it looks like the whole paradigm of education, and not just as a country, but as individuals, parents, and I've been caught in that. You want your child to get this, you want your child to go into grammar school, because that seems to be what we have been told. And what is the evidence in this approach to education? As a primary school teacher, I always hear secondary school teachers complain about the fact that your pupils come into school, they have level 5 or whatever, and level 5 is supposed to be the top level. But then, they are not able to perform basic tasks, they lack basic skills. And this system continues because the same students then go to university. And I saw one online where Mammoth University in the States teaching their students or their undergrads what a paragraph means and just some basic grammatical knowledge, which ideally these students should have been taught and mastered in primary school, but clearly they haven't, and they are now learning these in the university. And it doesn't end there. Employers have been crying out to government, to anyone who would listen, that we are not getting people, we are not able to hire people who can come and perform the job, but we hire a graduate and it's almost like you have to retrain them. It's almost like they've learned nothing. And the effect is this. Whereas the employers are getting frustrated, the graduates themselves are getting frustrated, because here they are, they've worked really hard to achieve a first class in something, and then only to go to the workplace, and then they realize that they really are not that relevant, and they have to be literally sometimes tutored by somebody who has not even been to the university. But that is a reality we live in. So it really is important for us to start thinking that, what do we want to achieve? And this is not a question for government to answer. It's a question for every parent, every individual. The great Steve Jobs, the late Steve Jobs, he made that personal decision, even though he was sent to one of the best colleges in America, decided that this is really not helping me, and he dropped out and decided to sit into or drop into lessons or subjects that he found interesting. The rest we know is history. So as a people, as a country, as a community, I think it's about time that we begin to examine what drives our motive. Is it on the personality ethic, where we want people to see us, to see that, oh, my children have all gone to university, oh, my children are all this, oh, I am this, oh, look at me, this is what I've got. Is that the sort of society we want? Or we want people who are going to be resilient, people who are going to be game changers, people who are going to see this bottle and say to themselves, actually, if we do this and that, this bottle could actually be put into some better use. Are we looking for people to change the world? And are we training the people who will do that? I think that is the question we must be asking ourselves. And for the way forward, really, this is what I think I want to propose. And, there's something for all stakeholders. Now, government has a critical role to play, because government tells parents that when you are sending your child to school, look at the league table, and if the school is out there, it means that they are supposed to be a good school, and if it's not. But is that really the case? And I can tell you, absolutely not. And many parents have found that out. They have gone to a school which is supposed to be a good school because of where they place, only to find out that there are many things, managing behavior, certain ethos, which do not apply to them. They don't buy into those values, but yet somehow the league table says they are supposed to be a good school. So government must separate assessment from learning. Assessment is separate. Let Ofqual, the qualification body, just collect the assessment data, give it to the statistical service. They can do all the tabulation, extrapolate like they do on the economy, and that is fine. And then let Ofsted, the school inspector, actually go and inspect learning, examine school curricula, examine the pedagogy, see the effectiveness of the pedagogy, check the learning goals that have been set for the children, and see whether the instructional methods are such that they are giving every child the opportunity to learn. Because science has proven that every one of us, every child, has the ability to perform, has the ability to learn. The only difference is this: some may be able to grasp a concept in an hour a day, some in a week, or some it may take them a month. Just look back, it's just like some of the natural skills we do, walking. Some children will walk by 6 months, others may take a year, others a year and a half, some 2 years, others maybe more. But by adulthood, everyone is walking. I have never come across an adult who has never been able to learn the art of walking. And that is how our educational system should be. We shouldn't place artificial timelines or barriers or categorization to say that you cannot do something just because you don't meet our timeline. So that is for government to do, to separate assessment. Just put assessment aside. And then once government has done that, a parent can then say to themselves, what do I want for my child in deciding where to send your child to? And when you go to visit a school, you are then trying to look, do they have my values? Do they share my values? Are they giving the children the preparation that I want my child to have for adulthood? You make your decisions based on real facts. It's almost like trying to go out with somebody on a date and you are using some matrix rather than trying to base it on some real values that you share. And once parents have this information, they will choose a school regardless of whether the assessment data is up or down. Because you see, not every child really wants to get A stars. They don't need it. And the late Steve Jobs has proven, and many people have proven around us, that really having those credentials mean absolutely nothing. At the end of the day, what makes the difference is what is within us, not what is given to us from school or from anybody. And then 3, schools must also make sure that they are becoming places that actually prepare pupils, students for the future. Schools should just forget about getting children to pass the test so that they will look good. It is not about the school. It's really about the students. It's about the pupil. And that is where the focus should be. And that is what the school inspector should be looking at, not the assessment. The assessment makes the school look good. It doesn't do anything for the child. And some of the children, frankly, they don't care. And then number 4, the pupils and the students, what they need is time and the correct instructional methods. The idea of differentiation, the idea of potential gone. It's not about potential, it's about the fact that we recognize that each child has the ability to perform, to achieve, to excel. And what we have to do is to find ways in which we are going to make them realize that innate ability. I'm going to leave you with this question. If you are a parent and you know that you've got about 3 years to depart this earth, I mean, we are all going to depart at some point in time. I know I'm sounding a bit morbid, but that's our reality. And you are thinking about how you want to leave your child. What will make you feel like you've done a good job? Is it going to be when you think that, oh, my child has got this qualification, that they've got all these credentials, so I think, yeah, I've done a good job? Or that you leave a child that you know that regardless of what is thrown at them, that they have the resilience, they have the grit, they have the determination to say, okay, what is this about? What can I do? And then they are going to take actions within themselves to rise above whatever challenges will be thrown at them. Because let's face it, we don't know what our world is going to look like in 10 years' time. Technology is just running. And if we are teaching children to pass some irrelevant test today, which means nothing tomorrow, then we are actually failing our children. And I think this is something that everyone, from parents, teachers, students, government, and policymakers, must come together and realize that we need to have a paradigm shift, a shift from an assessment-driven education to one which is based on learning. Thank you very much for watching this power session, and I shall surely be with you again soon. My name is Michael Ankrah.